It is a day to help celebrate the achievements of women around the world and also help show many of the barriers and situations they still experience.
Well, it's a celebration of women's roles and their achievements worldwide, internationally. Yeah, it's a really important day to be able to celebrate it, and I have been aware of it and have celebrated it before. I've done Women in Agriculture, and that was part of International Women's Day, and I was really fortunate to go with the current chair then of the NFU, Tanya Robbins, and we went to London together.
That's a really interesting question, and I think if it hadn't been posed, it's not one I would have actually thought about. But when you consider that the females of the population make up over 50%, 51% of the population of the UK, probably the world as well, that it's timely to profile their contribution to society, to the world, to our economic and healthy well-being. So I think what it means to me is opportunity to really sort of promote exactly what women do for society and to highlight all the examples of creativity and good practice and inspiration.
I've noticed a larger openness for the discussion of gender inequality, and that has led to a greater conversation about the barriers and situations women face in the charitable sector.
Well, actually, thank you for the question, Johnny, because I have reflected on it. And yeah, there have been some changes in gender equality in my working life. So when I was 16, I had a Saturday job, and my manager was a Mr, so he was male. And then after that, I've worked at Glasgow, which is the current Glasgow, and my managers there were male. So it was predominantly male dominated. And then after that, when I moved to the county council, within adult education, my managers were male and they now are female, interestingly enough, over the years as things have evolved. So within children's safeguarding, where I work now for Gloucester, our manager is female. So yeah, it's interesting, and I hadn't thought about it.
Oh my goodness, well, I go back a long time, and when I thought about this, I thought when I was at university back in the tail end of the 60s and the early 70s, I did a degree in estate management, and out of 40 of us there was one lady on that course. She was excellent and she did extremely well in her professional career, but now I look now and actually over 50% of surveying graduates are female. So that has been a transformation over the past 50 years. And I've seen it so much in the workplace generally, how there is much more equality into numerically between the male and female workforce, which I think has brought new vibrancy and new ways of thinking and a different dimension to how work has been conducted. So it's been for me over my working life, which goes back, as I say, 50 odd years, a sea change in terms of change.
It can help set up adult apprenticeships to help uplift marginalised and underrepresented demographics into leadership roles.
Well, I think we can look at the women role models within the charity sector and encourage those to come forward. We can look at maybe having shorter part-time roles perhaps for people if there's a childcare issue. Things have moved on though within the charity sector, and I was involved within a charity when there was an interview, and a trustee mentioned when we were interviewing a lady about having more children, and it was like, oh, you can't do that. So we have educated people, and I think there is a good strong role for the charity sector to improve gender equality.
I don't think the charity sector is probably any different from any other sector, the commercial sector, the voluntary sector, or any other sector. But it's all about, I think, respecting everyone's abilities, that everyone in fact is equal or has to have equal opportunity to display their worth. So that's I think would be my response on that one.
The public demonstration of many of the women movements over the last few years, which has brought forward many topics and situations which had previously been put under the rug, has been brought into the light, which has been very inspiring.
I can actually. So I had a moment. So my role is to work with parents, and I was working with some very vulnerable women on signposting them into training. And I always say to them, what is it that you love? What would you like to do? What would you like the opportunity to do? And one mum said to me, I would like to be an electrical engineer. And I said, but she said, but I can't. And I said, well, why not? You can. And she said, oh, okay, thank you. Will you help me? I said, yeah, I'll support you. So we applied for a course at Gloucester College. I met her there. She went there for an open day for an interview. She went on to the course and she completed year 1 of the course. So I just thought that was brilliant in terms of her empowerment and moving her on and doing what she wanted to do in predominantly a male-dominated environment. But she did it.
Oh, it's a really interesting one. There are a number, but I think the one that sticks in my memory is the Falklands War and Margaret Thatcher's role in actually standing up to the bully boys of the Argentina generals junta, which would have just overrun the Falklands. And I've got a personal interest there, and I know, in fact, the governor of the Falkland Islands at the time. So there was a personal dimension there, and the way she said, no, we're going to send a task force 6,000 miles across the Atlantic, and we're not just going to be rolled over. And it was against a fair degree of internal soul searching, not so much opposition, but she said, we're going to do this, and we're not going to be defeated. And we weren't, and it was through her determination and vision that actually that was achieved. And I think that sent out a message to the world that, you know, countries couldn't be taken for granted.
A diversity of opinions and individuals help lead to greater creativity, productivity, and also a situation where different ideas can be brought forward in a more comfortable place.
I think we need to be offering a balance and striking a balance with all these things, and women can offer leadership just as well as men can, and women can often offer different ways of being a leader, and also it's more inclusive actually in terms of the gender balance. We can do it.
We need more people across the piece who have got vision and leadership abilities. And as I've said, you know, women make up 50% plus of the population. We need to be as fully representative as we possibly can. And I think women bring to leadership differing perspectives, differing experiences, differing empathies, different ways of thinking things through. And I think the complementary nature, it's not just about male and female, it's young and old, it's people from differing walks of life, differing experiences, differing cultures as well. So I think we put all of that into the mix, and you know, the female of the population have got so much more, I think, yet to contribute.
The most important piece of advice I've been given has been with the strength of your convictions, be yourself.
Okay, so this was from my grandma. I wanted a piece of advice from a woman, bless her, she'd be 100 and something now if she was around. And she always used to say, Sally, you know, love, one door closes and another door opens. And I think that's really relevant today. And I often quote her on that, and I often think about her when she said, you know, when we think about that.
In this particular context, I suppose, well, the most important piece of advice I was ever given was to be true to yourself, is to have integrity. Because so often I think in life you are pulled and influenced in all sorts of directions. You can be seduced by this way of thinking or this particular influence. But the bottom line is that you need to have your own beliefs, your own standards, your own values, and to apply those consistently across the piece. If you do that, then you're being honest and you're giving of the best of yourself, and you are contributing as openly and honestly as you can to society.
Diversity in the workplace can help bring forward different ideas on individuals who may not have been comfortable to be brought forward either themselves or the ideas they might have had, which can help improve productivity and ways of working which might otherwise have been overlooked.
Well, I just think the modern workplace needs to have a reflection of the modern workforce and diversity. Here in the centre of Gloucester, we've got all sorts of different diverse ethnic groups living here, men, women, and it's just really important for our workplace to reflect that diversity amongst the staff that we work with. And that then, with a diverse workforce, that then entails that we get unbiased opinions and we give everyone a fair opportunity to be themselves.
Well, I think I probably touched on that before. Diversity brings differing experiences, differing points of views, differing backgrounds, differing networks of contacts, differing cultures. And I think we are far stronger as a society if we cherish and we celebrate difference and diversity, because we learn from that. We're exposed to new ways of thinking. We are more open-minded and outward-looking. We're not introspective. We're not shut off from thinking about just one set of views or one set of values.
Outside the obvious answers of the women in my family, I've been very lucky to work for many inspirational female leaders in my time, which have each taught me something different at different stages of my career.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I like to think that the people that I work alongside are inspirational women. I'm part of a multi-agency team where we've got 9 women and 1 man, which again is quite interesting. And also the mothers that I'm working with are incredibly inspirational in terms of the issues that they're dealing with and moving on with their lives and to benefit themselves and their children. So they inspire me. And also I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by inspirational friends and family, which again is all important in terms of the work-life balance as well.
My wife told me to mention herself. I've been married, my wife and I have been together for exactly today 50 years.
Oh wow, congratulations.
We've been married for coming up 49 years, and I owe her far more than I could ever hope to say. So, you know, I would have said that anyway.
I would find a evening of the conversations with Virginia Woolf, who was a writer at the turn of the last century, who laid the seeds for the modern feminist movement, and she helped inspire and set up individuals to speak their own truth.
Okay, well, I was thinking about this again this morning, Johnny, and I've pulled a random selection of women.
Yeah.
So first of all, I was thinking of Amy Johnson, okay, who flew solo in the 1930s from Britain to Australia. I've got Australian background as well, and I just thought, actually, that lady in the 1930s to do that, I think it took her 16 days, was inspirational. You know, fair dues to her. I thought that was really good. I think she would be good for dinner. Margaret Thatcher, I thought about. I know we shouldn't talk politics, but actually, female Prime Minister, let's have her there as well. Lady Ryder, Sue Ryder Holmes, incredible lady. I hadn't realised she volunteered in World War II as well. She's died for about 20 years, but the fact is that Sue Ryder is really strong. People are getting cancer every day. I've been a volunteer for Sue Ryder. I've actually seen her in Cheltenham being driven around, and I thought, right, I'd like Sue Ryder, Lady Ryder there. And then also, I'd like the Queen there. I think we can't not mention our Queen. 70 years she's been on the throne, 25 when she took over, grieving her father, and she's still with us. So yeah, I'd have those.
Firstly, I would invite Dinner Priti Patel, because I think for an Asian lady to have aspired and to have achieved what she has done to become Home Secretary and to speak with such conviction and clarity and sense of purpose, I find inspirational. The second person, I'm afraid, is no longer with us, but I've always adored her, and that would be Dusty Springfield, who had probably the most powerful, soulful female voice of all, and I think I've got most of her records, so I would have Dusty along.
Break the bias.
Break the bias.
Break the bias.